let's get into our first session, which is on digital consumerism. And what do we mean by a digital consumerism? What is a digital consumer? A digital consumer is somebody who uses technology to both buy and sell products and services, right? They're the same people who would walk into your store, passing your store in the mall, decide to stop in, take a look at what's happening, what's on your shelf, ask you questions about your products and services, or would call your telephone line to say, hey, I saw this, or do you have this, or do you stock or carry this item? Or they're the same person who will purchase something from you and say, hey, can I get a discount because, I'm buying a certain volume of things, etc. It's no different, in other words, from a regular consumer who would walk into your place of business if you had a brick and mortar. And by brick and mortar, I mean a physical location, right? The only difference is that those persons, instead of walking into your store, they're choosing, or they're deciding to go with the option of accessing your store online, or your business or your services online, right? Why are digital consumers important? Why is digital, I should say, important to the development of consumerism? And why you, as a student in a digital marketing class, needs to understand what digital consumerism is? Because, in short, technology, digital, has significantly, radically, dramatically changed consumer behavior, right? And it's because they're now empowered and enabled by these digital platforms and technology. And most importantly, they now have access to more information. Access to more information means they can make more informed decisions about certain things. And that, in and of itself, influences how they buy, how they interact with a business, and how they experience that business. And you'll find that business interactivity and experience is extremely important in the online space. And we're going to look at that later on. But let's talk about some of the ways that digital technology has changed consumer behavior, right? One of the main ways, as I said before, is access to more information. And by access to more information, I mean back in the day, if I wanted to find out, for instance, who, let's say Grace Kennedy, who Grace Kennedy sponsors in terms of what kind of TV show they sponsor, what radio slots they have, or what TV slots they had, I would either have to listen to the radio or watch TV or wait for them to publish an annual report for me to know how much profit they made, or etc. etc. Nowadays, that information is usually on their website, right? Or on the stock exchange website if they're listed on the stock exchange. So what I'm saying is there are more ways to access information about a company. And you might think, why would you want to know about their stock options or how much profit they made, etc.? Because for a lot of customers, a lot of consumers, that's important to them. I want to know who you support so I know if it is in line with my morals or my beliefs, right? Because again, that is important to consumers. It has always been important to consumers, but especially now, given the fact that with the internet, companies are now being held to a different standard than it was before. There's more transparency, or there's a demand for more transparency. There's a demand for more accountability. And so because of that, consumers will take the time to actually research a company to find out, okay, who are you affiliated with? Who are you connected to? Because you may be connected to a cause or to a person that I don't like, or is against my beliefs for whatever reason, right? It happens. So you will see sometimes where a celebrity may come out and say something. Let's take that Will Smith slap, right? Will Smith slaps Chris Rock. that's broadcasted all over the internet in real time, and the repercussions were instant. He has lost movie deals, he has lost sponsorship deals, all of that, because companies are very much aware that consumers are interested in things like this, and then the accountability comes in. And if you are seen to support something that according to society, socially is unacceptable, then you may lose business. It has happened, right? So that's the power of information, and that's one way information has changed consumer behavior. The other way is, with digital, there's no more room for competition or more space for competitors. So anybody can go online and start a business, put up a website, go on social media, create a profile, and start selling their products and their services. Business startup is not as hard as it used to be. Now, that doesn't negate you actually going through the proper channels to set up your business, even if your business is online. But what I'm saying now is you can go online, and going online means you're more visible, right? You can better target an audience, right? And you can build brand awareness around your products and services, and that can instantly make you competitive, right? So let's look at fast fashion brands as an example. Fast fashion brands, I mean Fashion Nova, Shein, etc. They have, in a relatively short period of time, eaten into the market, the clothing market, the retail market, and have taken market share away from big fashion brand, legacy fashion brands like the Chanels and the Balmains, etc. No, they're not hurting. Chanel and Balmain not hurting. But when you have celebrities now teaming up with these fast fashion brands, and they are able to create their own fashion lines through these brands and sell their own lines through these brands, right? In a manner that is accessible to their fan base, especially, meaning in terms of the amount of money things cost, the amount of money a Fashion Over suit costs as opposed to the amount of money a Versace suit costs, right? Of course, they're gonna lose market shares. These big brands, these big luxury brands, are gonna lose market share. Even if you can make the argument that a Fashion Nova and Balmain is not necessarily comparable. True, but you do have small independent luxury fashion brands that are competing with a Balmain, and they're gaining market share and market space year on year because of the digital space. It's relatively easier to become visible and to reach an audience in the digital space. So it provides for more competition, and in a way levels the playing field, because before, in terms of being visible and expanding your reach, that would depend on how heavy your pocket is in terms of your marketing ability, right? If you had a deep pocket and you could pay for primetime TV slots or primetime radio slots, or back in the day, full page magazine ads in Cosmopolitan or Vogue, etc., your visibility would increase for you and your reach would increase. Nowadays, you don't have to do all of that. You just need a well curated, interesting social media space and a well organized website or an e-commerce site, and you're pretty much in business, right? So more competition, more options. So now that there's more information, I can readily go online and find more information about other companies that are offering products and services outside of the ones that we're already familiar with, because we grew up with these companies, or because our parents use these companies, or because these companies were just more visible. I can go online and I can find other options because there's more competition out there now. And so I can pick, choose, and refuse. So more options for me, more information, more competition equal more options, which equals more power as a consumer, more consumer power, because I have flexibility, I have options. So when you have on your storefront that your store opens at 10 a.m., and then when I get there at 10 a.m., you're not there and you don't open till 1, I have options. Ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody has time for that. When I message you on social media, or I DM you and I ask you about a product or a service, or I make a query, and 2 3 hours pass and you don't respond, I got options. Anybody got time for that, right? And so that equals more power. Consumers are now more empowered, right? And because I'm now empowered, my confidence has increased, right? Because I'm not dependent on one company or one business to provide a product or service, right? So this is what has been happening. You have uh, online stores, brands out here who would buy stuff from a Shein or buy stuff from a Fashion Nova, sell it for a ridiculous price, and then tell you, well, I had to buy it and I had to ship it. Okay, well, good for you. You keep that. I will buy it directly from Shein because I have the app. I'll buy it directly from Shein and I'll ship it and pay $2,000. Thank you, bye. You know what I mean? So my confidence has now increased. I don't need to depend on somebody to buy it and ship it so I can get access to it. Look at Amazon. I can buy directly from Amazon and have it shipped directly to me. I get it within 2 weeks or a week or even less because they're efficient like that. And I'm good to go. I'm good. I'm gravy, right? So there's an increased consumer confidence, which is where the accountability part comes in, right? And which is why you find now that in terms of decision making, it's a lot slower. The process is a lot slower because consumers are not necessarily quick to make buying decisions anymore because they spend a lot more time shopping around. And with increased confidence, loyalty has decreased as well. Because one reason why there was such loyalty, especially to these legacy brands or these big brands, is because we really didn't have much of an option. Remember cable and wireless? We didn't really have much of an option. And so we were bonded to these people because there was not a lot of options and we needed the product or the service. Now, you say something to me too tough for me not like, I'm gonna like how you respond because it sound like say you have an attitude. No, ma'am. I'm gone. Right? Increased confidence. Lower tolerance. Increased confidence, lower tolerance, lower loyalty. I am gonna shop around. Okay, and find somebody that I actually like, who I think has my best interest at heart, or who I think is more concerned with my well-being than just try get me money, which is a very odd thing because a business is in business to make money. But if you come off as I'm only interested in that, then you're gonna lose people. Because you have to realize that you are still dealing with people and people are highly emotional or emotionally driven. And so there's a lot of perception. Marketing, business is about perception. And so you have to be careful about the kind of perception that you're putting out there because people are just not tolerant anymore. And the internet loves nothing more than to take down a big business. They love nothing more than to humble a business. Okay? That's where cancel culture came from. All right. Also, now that they have lower tolerance, what has increased is their demand for convenience and instantaneity. And by instantaneity means I need this now. I need you to respond now. I need you to deliver this now. I want it now. That has increased, right? Because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. So you decide if you want my business or not. Now it's not the market determining how a business functions or business responsiveness or business interactivity. It's the consumer who determines that. And if you are not keeping up with the consumer and what their demands are, and I'm not talking about every single demand now, but demands that can either make or break your business. If you're not keeping up, you're going to lose out, right? So those are just some of the ways. There are other ways that the internet has really changed consumer behavior. One of the other ways could be hypervigilance. and we talked about that when we talked about more information. It's kind of the same thing. Hypervigilance just means that customers are now on the lookout for the next best thing. That's where FOMO came from, right? Fear of missing out. So I could buy a $50 Nike. I could. Or I could go to Amazon, go look for running shoes and buy one $20 one. I'm okay with that. It not have to be Nike. You know what I mean? Because what is a better bang for my buck, right? How can I make my money stretch further? Right? And so you have hypervigilance in terms of watching out for deals. So you have apps and websites that allows you to store deals. So you can go around on your favorite sites, and every time there's a deal, that app will alert you. You can go and you can check the deal. And if it looks good to you, you can take advantage of it. You have apps and websites that are only for discounts. If you want to go find a discount for one of your favorite stores, you can go in there. You're guaranteed to find a discount. Why do these spaces exist? These spaces exist because consumers are a lot more intelligent, extremely intelligent. They are also internet technology, digitally savvy. And because they're digitally savvy and have access to more information and are more intelligent, problems for businesses if you are not if you have not found that balance for yourself, online. All right. So now, what is this New York Times article about? Now, this is one way. This is just goes back to one: hypervigilance, access to more information, and consumer intelligence. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but GameStop was a failing company, but some young people on Reddit decided that they were gonna stick it to Wall Street, and they were gonna game the Wall Street system to boost the stock shares in GameStop. GameStop experienced an astronomical rise in stock prices in a very short period of time, and it all started on Reddit. So let's read about it. It says, a real estate salesman in Valparaiso, Indiana, I think, a former line cook from the Bronx, an evangelical pastor, and his wife in Huntington Beach, California, a high school student in the Milwaukee suburbs. They're among the millions of amateur traders collectively taking on some of Wall Street's most sophisticated investors, and for the moment at least, they're winning. So this says they're propelled by a mix of greed, but I think what it wasn't greed. It was, one, frustration. Two, it was almost like a revolutionary kind of action, and you find a lot of mini revolutions happening across the internet, again, because more access to information, more intelligent consumers, and again, the collective takedown of big established institutions is not just an American thing, it's an internet thing. We like to see when big institutions, established institutions, are humbled and are bent to our will, because for a long time we were beholden to them. They made a rule and that's what it was, and we had no recourse necessarily. Now it's not that way anymore. The tables have turned. So this was an example of some people deciding that, okay, Wall Street, you screwed us for long enough. Now it's time that we screw you, and they sure did. Many Wall Street investors lost a ton of money. Venture capitalists, all sorts of people lost a ton of money, right? And so this is just one example of what I call these mini internet revolutions, where consumers are now empowered and confident enough to take on established businesses or businesses, and it's more showing them that they now have the power instead of the other way around, right? Let's talk about the increasing consumer power and what that means for businesses. There's now a demand for on-demand access. I like this TV series. I want to watch this TV series now. I don't want to wait 6 weeks for the next episode to come out. No, you make the series and put it on Netflix so I can pay my money and go watch my series. Thank you very much. And not even just Netflix. You have think about on-demand access and what on-demand access has done to the movie industry. Theaters are going out of business. Why? Because now you have HBO Max, you have Hulu, you have Amazon Prime Video, you have Netflix, you have Disney Plus. There's a rise in on-demand movies, on-demand entertainment, and it is putting the movie business out of it's putting the theater business out of commission. It's the same thing with music. You have Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, all sort of these Tidal, right? Because consumers are now more empowered, and it means that and have access to more information and are more intelligent, and they want instantity and convenience, which means that I can stay home and I can choose what I want to hear or watch or see, and I'm willing to pay for that access, right? Convenience, loyalty as well. There is a lowering of loyalty to established and legacy companies, but with niche brands and niche companies, loyalty is increasing. Why? Because again, it's the perception that this brand cares more about me. It's more in line with my beliefs and the way I think about things and my morals and my feelings or whatever. And they're an underdog brand. They're a smaller brand, and I want to see them win. And so I'm going to back that brand, right? And that's where the loyalty to that brand comes in. But if that brand ever miss, goodbye. Think about Shea Moisturizer. Shea Moisture. Is it Shea Moisture or Shea Moisturizer? The brand, Shea Moisture. I think that's a brand. When they started out as a black company, a company that caters for black women with black hair, and then got a big investment from a white company and started acting a fool. And so the black natural hair community rebelled and they lost a ton of money. And that you see that happening over again. There was another brand called Honey. It was not necessarily just feminine hygiene, but some of our biggest products were feminine hygiene products. I think she came on the Today Show or something like that, and her appearance on the show, for some reason there was a backlash about her appearance on the show, and mostly white people started sending threats and left racist remarks, etc., etc. Long story short, the black community rallied around her, and within minutes of her products hitting the Target shelf, they were sold out within minutes. And so this is what I mean by consumers being more intelligent and always wanting to stick it to the man, right? Or these established companies are just wanting to exert their power, their consumer power, their dollar power, right? And to back a company or back a small business, or once they see any kind of perceived injustice, to always try to right it with their money, because money can right a lot of wrongs, right? And withholding your money as a consumer can make companies see sense real quick, right? So that's kind of what that power means. Responsiveness as well. People want you to respond to them. If I send you a message, your JPS, your Flow, Digital, whoever, and I send you a message, I expect you to respond within a reasonable time. You have to be responsive, especially if you're if you're an online business, or if you have an online presence. What's the point of you being on social media, have a website, if I can't instantly connect to you and get you to respond to a query? That's the whole point of me finding you online, because ain't nobody got time to come and stand up in your store for even 20 minutes. Nobody has time for that. I have work, right? And so responsiveness is another key area where consumer power, you'll see consumer power at full display here. I'll give you an example. About a year or two ago, I don't remember how long it was, I had an issue with YouTube on my mobile. For some reason, it wasn't working. And so I sent an Instagram message, not Instagram, Twitter. I sent a Twitter. I at YouTube on Twitter. I was like, guys, what's going on with your mobile app? It's not working. And within 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they responded, what's the issue? Send us a screenshot. And somebody was in my DMs in no time walking me through how to fix the issue. And within an hour, I was good. My service was back up and I was fine. That's responsiveness. Now, YouTube is a huge company owned by Google, right? I'm a little nobody from Jamaica, but YouTube understands that if I was to go on Twitter and go, I added YouTube and they did not respond, that tweet could reach very far and could just aggravate and frustrate a lot of people, right? And that accumulated backlash could cause problems for them, and they don't want the heat, they don't want the smoke, and so they are very responsive to customers, and that's something that you need to keep in mind. Another thing with consumer power being on the increase is that they're now demanding more personalized messaging, meaning no longer can, first of all, there was never a market segment called anybody or everybody. That was never the case. However, if you had enough money, you could saturate the market with your marketing, and so everybody would be reached. And if a part of that everybody was your target audience, boom, you're in business, right? Nowadays, that doesn't work, especially online. I am not going to come to your profile and rifle through to see if there's anything here that makes sense to me. If your first two pieces of content doesn't resonate, I'm off. Peace. Good luck with you on that, right? And when you're talking to me, I don't want generalizations. I want you to say, hi, Kadia. How can I help you? Because it feels more personal to me. It feels like I am being listened to, and like this is not some kind of automated or thought response. It may very well be a thought response, but it doesn't have to feel like that. As I said, it's all about perception. Another example, I don't remember, Headliner. Headliner is an app I use to create audio aids for my podcast when I'm trying to market it on social media. I don't remember what was going on with Headliner, and I messaged them, and a guy named Oliver responded, hi, Kadia, my name is Oliver. How can I help you? Now, I knew that was an automated message, but it was personalized. And because it was personalized, I felt like this person was actually paying me attention and was actually interested in my problems, and I got it resolved. So the messaging was automated, but there was still a person behind that automated messaging responding to my specific query, etc., etc. And so, guys, this is what personalization can set your business apart from your competitors, right? And so this is an important part of the whole, digital revolution, if you will. Consistency is also important. If it is that I come to know you as selling a particular product or a particular service or posting a certain kind of content, say you're one of my favorite content creators, posting a certain kind of content, that's what I'm expecting. And if I've come to expect you doing it at a particular level, you're going to have to either stay at that level or exceed that level, but never fall below it, because it's consistency both in quality of your output as well as consistency in the output itself, right? And the last one is first contact resolution, which ties with responsiveness. First contact resolution means when I message you on Twitter and I say, hey, JPS, I have a problem. JPS is supposed to respond to me there and not send me to go call or send me somewhere else. The first contact I make with your business, I should have a resolution there. You know what I mean? So this is some of the ways that these are some of the demands that consumers are making nowadays, and these are some of the ways that digital have shifted the power away from the marketer, the business, to the consumer. Let's go back to on demand. And I know you guys see this insecure post and you're going, why is Issa Rae on my screen? This is Issa Rae. I don't know how many of you know the HBO series Insecure, but it says HBO original series, but it's not necessarily original, because before she was Issa Rae, Hollywood celebrity, writer, producer, star of Insecure, She was Issa Rae, writer, producer, and star of the Awkward Black Girl series on YouTube. That's where Insecure started from. She was a YouTube creator back in the day, and this was about 2017, 2018, right? Back in the day, and she created this series called Awkward Black Girl. Let's look at it. And with this Awkward Black Girl series, what she was doing was just, she said it was true to life. So what she was doing was like showing you the day to day of her life as an awkward black girl. Guys, let me know if when I play this, you're hearing it. Are you hearing?
Am I the only one who pretends I'm in a music video when
Let me see if you guys are hearing. Hearing. Okay, great.
I'm by myself?
My booty shout, booty shout.
Niggas wanna fuck me from behind. Being about his ass, niggas wanna feel him.
Okay, let's skip that part because it has some expletives in it.
I'm a motherfucking
Awkward moment. What's the protocol for repeatedly running into someone at a stop sign?
So this was broke Issa Rae, right? Making her own YouTube series called Awkward Black Girl. And I think it went for 4 seasons. It became very, very popular on YouTube and then got picked up by HBO, right? So again, consumer power, because it became so popular and everybody was like, this girl needs her own TV show. She needs her own HBO series. HBO, you guys need to make this a series. And HBO responded, right? Because clearly what this was for them proof of concept. They now had proof that one, the market wanted this. There was a demand in the market for this. She already built a ready audience, right? And so there was not much market research for HBO to do. Clearly, people wanted to see this and she had an audience. And this had millions of views. Her series had millions of views. So of course it made sense. And it was back in that turning point where consumer power was on the rise. And now, TV channels who were always looking for content were looking to the digital space to see who the big creators were and who they could bring into the fold to create series for them in terms of series writers, etc. So timing was important. And later on, we're going to talk about visibility, relevance, timing, and access, and how these 4 things together can make for a really successful digital marketing, a really successful growth in the digital space. All right. So this was Issa Rae. Another example of this was Adam. Adam Ruins Everything is another popular TV series on True TV, right? But it also started out on YouTube as Adam Ruins from a popular YouTube channel called College Humor. College Humor produces these, College Humor intentionally started out as a web-based, company that produce content for web-based platforms like their website and for YouTube. And so in fact, several of College Humor series have gone on to become big TV series like Drunk History. That was a College Humor series that has gone on to be big on TV. So this was Adam Ruins Everything.
If I want to have kids, I have to do it by the time that I turn 35.
Ah, yes, 35. The age when the media tells us a woman's fertility rate supposedly plummets.
You've got to get pretty serious about having kids before 35.
You're getting older and you know that clock is ticking.
By the time we're 35, fertility has decreased by 50%.
So this series started out, again, as a part of the College Humor series. They had several series, and it was taken up by True TV and is now a very popular series on True TV as well. So again, this is what consumer power does. When something nowadays when something goes viral on the internet, on YouTube, on the web, it is almost inevitable that it is going to be picked up by TV, because it seems to me, and this is my opinion, that TV leeches off of the internet to find content as well. That's just my opinion. All right, guys? All right, so let's look at some more examples of digital consumerism. And this is how companies have now started to connect, using the digital space to connect with existing clients and to attract or acquire new clients. So this is Canva. Canva is one of my favorite apps. I use Canva to design just about everything, including some of the slides that you see here in this presentation. So Canva, in order to, one, continue communication with their audience base, to acquire new audience, and to just get a finger on the pulse of what their audience wants. They often do these things like this, where they will throw questions out like, if you had the power to create a new Canva feature, what would it be? And as you can see here, Digital Jamaica is me. I had a list, honey. I had a whole list, and this wasn't even my full list. But not only did I post, they responded to say, yeah, keep them coming. These are superb ideas. They are interacting with me as a consumer, and I feel like I am being seen. I feel like my input is needed or is necessary or is being considered. That's absolutely important in this day and age, where consumers want to feel like they're a part of the company. They want to feel like their decisions matter, and they want to feel they want to be heard. Right? And so this is an extremely good marketing tactic on behalf of from Canva, really trying to, because they're fishing for ideas too. I mean, you guys think, oh, it's a big company, they never run out of ideas. That's a lie. Okay, they are always looking for the next best thing, the next big idea that they could push out that would be successful for them. And what's the best way to find out what your customers want? Ask them. Ask. What do you want? Okay. Here's JPS as well. This is another JPS thing. And I was asking them about, I had some outage, and I was asking them about outage. And they responded relatively. I asked, so you can see that I sent a message at 7:10 a.m. and by 7:39 a.m. they responded, and my light was back within an hour. So I don't know if it was because I reached out to them, but as you can see, they said there was no scheduled outage, so they're gonna check on it. And when they check on it, they realized that there was an issue, and they sent a team out, and it got fixed. Responsiveness. Now, I carry no torch for JPS because I'm a Jamaican. I know the problems with JPS, but one thing I do give them credit for is that they're extremely responsive on Twitter. Extremely responsive on Twitter. Now, some of the times they probably shouldn't respond because some of them responses. But when you have an issue and you reach out to them, I find that they're extremely responsive. They may not be helpful, but they're responsive. Because this first one, when I asked them if their Portmore office was open, and they tell me that it's always open, and then I went over there and it wasn't open. Yeah, not always helpful, but responsive. All right, so this one is, again, I want to show you how brands are now using social media channels to, one, interact with not just a creator, but that creator's audience, becoming visible to that creator's audience. Why is it bugging? Becoming visible to that creator's audience.
I graduated college with a degree in design and fitment.
Becoming visible to that creator's audience in an attempt to ingratiate themselves, in an attempt to be seen as cool, because cool points, people always want cool points. It don't really matter. In an attempt to be seen as cool, in an attempt to be seen as present As in, they're on the post, they're seeing what's happening, they know what's going on, who is mentioning our names. That's what you call social listening, right? To be on the post, to be in the know, to be on trend. That's what they're doing. So here's this video from this creator on TikTok called Emily Zigay. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And she made a video. No, this is sarcasm. This was supposed to be sarcasm. And
I graduated college
in that video, she mentions McDonald's. Now, this is what she said in the video.
I graduated college with a degree in design and have been I've had some companies like McDonald's reach out to me and ask for a new logo for obvious reasons. So here are my redesigns.
Okay, hold on.
First, Nicole reached out to me.
I'm gonna switch this over to my. I'm gonna switch over to here, so I can log in, so you can see. So you can see the responses, because that's what I want. That's what I want you guys to see. All right.
I graduated college with a degree in design and have been I've had some companies like McDonald's reach out to me and ask for a new logo for obvious reasons. So here are my redesigns. First, Nicole reached out to me. They do sports like football and such. Your logo is very boring and I don't appreciate that pointy part. So I redesigned it in a much more patriotic way. I'm also looked up and I'm pretty sure he is the president of the football in America. Next we have Amazon. Please help me to understand what's so significant about that Z and O that this arrow has to point right to them. It just feels like a waste of space to me. So this is your new logo. I added some green and breathed in a breath of fresh air that you guys really needed in your...
So this is satire. She was not being serious, as you can clearly tell, because her redesigns are absolutely horrible. But I want you guys to look at the responses and who responds. Trojan. We need a logo that you'd want your mom to look at. Chubbies, Doritos, Adult Swim, Denver Broncos, 7-Eleven, PGA Tour, Calm, the Prime, Amazon Prime, arrows are cancelled. MLB. So you see that in her response section was Grammarly, Scrub Daddy. These are huge brands in the States, right? And they all responded to her because one, it became a viral video on TikTok. And because of the type of content she was doing, everybody was jumping in, say, "Hey, we want a new design. We love your talent." Of course, it was a joke. It was a running joke, but it went viral, and because it went viral, she became extremely popular on TikTok. And you find that a lot of the videos that she does, Adidas responded, right? Because of her virality, and later we're going to talk about viral marketing. Because of her virality, all these brands decided that they were going to jump on the trend, right, and interact with the creator, because one thing that's a no-no online is if a creator creates something and it's trending and you either use it or something and don't mention the creator, that's a no-no. So they interacted with the creator, because then I want you to look at the replies from the creator's audience, right? So if you look at the replies from the creator's audience, people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you guys responded to this person, blah, 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 blah." You know what I mean? So these brands got a lot of interactivity from her audience, right? Now, I have a suspicion that this was orchestrated. I don't think this was organic. I think this was intentional. Again, later on we'll talk about viral marketing and I'll explain more why I think this particular video, and there are several other videos like it, that I think are actual viral marketing tactics that some of these brands use to gain visibility and reach. But we're going to talk about that later. So again, all this goes to show is how consumers how brands are now starting to interact, and businesses, big businesses, are now starting to interact with consumers online because they have to. They don't have a choice. They have to. Gone are the days where I would have called you and I have to go through 4 secretaries and a supervisor before I could get to the manager. And nobody has time for that these days, right? Sometimes no, you can reach out directly to the CEO of a company on a Twitter or a LinkedIn. You can message them directly and they will respond. Okay? For the most part, anyways. So now, with that being said, you guys now understand some of the ways that the internet has significantly shifted power away from the marketer, the business, to the consumer, and how that has changed consumer behavior. And so I'm going to pause here to see if you guys have any questions. Okay, so would we get the recording, Colleen? It's not the time for this conversation. As I said in orientation, the recordings will be available. I said it this morning on the Kingston Creatives YouTube page. Tashika says, another example is posting products and services and not including price and requesting that potential customers DM for prices. That was so 2016. Nobody's doing that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Even if you don't want to give a specific price, you can give a price range. That works. You can say starting at. That works. But just, yeah, stop doing that. Mr. No Bobby, No Bobby. Could it be that this culture will create a sense of boredom and people will seek out other means to entertain themselves? For a lot of people, it's entertainment. That's what trolling is. It's entertainment. But I don't think in this instance in this instance, it's about consumers exercising a newfound power that they have because of technology, because of digital. Do you have any tips on showing up consistently online? That's what you're supposed to be learning in the class, Loy. Cavell, will these PowerPoint slides be made available? No, you do not get my PowerPoint slides. You get the recording. All right? Any other question about anything you would have just learned? Or anything that you'd have just learned that you want to share? Is this a method to remove the power from primary and making the customer the primary? I'm not sure what you're asking. But it's not a matter of method. It's the natural evolution of technology. Remember, technology is a science, and it's the science of making your life easier. The point of technology is to create spaces, platform, devices, etc. that makes our life easier, simplifies our life. It makes the human existence easier. That's the point of technology. But with that, it has knock-on effects. And one of the knock-on effects of having access to this technology is that it increases consumer power. Because now, again, it levels playing fields and the game has changed. The game has changed because now, who is directing the play, the state of play? The consumer. Before, it was the company and their marketing team, because their marketing team had a big budget that influenced consumers. Now it's the other way around. Consumers are influencing the market, marketers, and business, right? And if you don't fall in line, you can suffer some serious consequences in terms of losing market share, in terms of lower sales, in terms of bad reputation. Not good. As it pertains to the persons via Snapchat and TikTok who attracts company with their viral mediums are normally through some comedic avenue which attract persons, but not everyone is in the field of ridiculing yourself of us. Amari, I'm not sure I understand what you said just now. What do you think about companies brand like JCF and Barita using... Tamar, you saw my presentation. How did you know I was going to talk about JCF and Barita? Girl, we're going to get into it. I think they're doing a fantastic job. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. In fact, we're going to talk about it in this session. All right. So no other questions here. I'm not bashing or saying when a person who uploads constructive content doesn't get the light or fame to attract the companies. Mario, maybe you need to jump on so you can explain. I don't know if it's how you've articulated it, but I think what you're saying is people are acting a fool to get sponsorship, which is true. As I said, trolls exist for a reason. But do I believe that that is what the current space does? No, I don't believe that. I've seen, I know for a fact that that's not the case, because small creators, micro creators, micro influencers, they're the ones who've been making all the money. And so no, I don't think everybody has to reduce themselves to a meme these days to get companies to see them, but there are ways you can go about being visible online. And if comedy is your shtick, then that's your shtick. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. I have a surprise for you guys in terms of JCF. There's going to be a surprise later down in the course. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's going to be a JCF surprise later on down in the course. As soon as I get confirmation, I will let you guys know what the surprise is. But that's why y'all need to show up to class, because you never know when we might have special guests dropping in. Yes. All right, guys. So let's move on to marketing fundamentals. I have a lot of special guests scheduled to come to the class, and you're gonna love all of them, because I'm sure you guys probably know them anyways. All right, moving on. What is marketing? So we talked about consumer power and all that good stuff and how digital has changed, but marketing hasn't really changed much. The only thing marketing has really done is adapt, because you have to adapt as a marketer. You have to be flexible, you have to be adaptable. Or is it adaptive? I think it's adaptable. I'm going to stick to adaptable. Marketing refers to activities a company, a brand, whether personal brand or otherwise, undertakes to promote the buying or selling of a product or service. And that's according to Investopedia. Let's go again. That's it? That's the extent of it? You see, when your slides don't work. Yeah, I think that's the extent of it. So I think I chose that explanation because it was a relatively easy explanation. It's whatever. So marketing is a huge umbrella term, and it can mean so many different things. But collectively, it's the activities that you do when promoting a product or service. And the point of that activity is to increase sales, right? So what is the purpose of marketing? You want to sell more. You want to sell more products and services. But how do you do that? It's called persuasion communication. And you use persuasion communication to convince consumers to choose you, pick me, right, over your competitor, right? And how does that work exactly? Well, let's look at a brand like Savage X Fenty, owned by Miss Robin Fenty, aka Rihanna. Yes? Now, Rihanna started out as a musician, right? And then, of course, as all musicians do, in terms of creating additional revenue streams for themselves, they've sometimes branched out into fashion or other activities. Rihanna went into the beauty business, right? And she started Fenty Beauty, which is now a multi-billion-dollar business. And how did she start Fenty Beauty? Biggest persuasion communication marketing tactic she used: appeal to emotions and triggering. And we're going to look at a triggering right after this, right? And what do I mean by triggering? What did she do exactly? Well, on the first release of makeup, she had over 50 shades, I think, and it went from milk, right, all the way down to black, like blackety black, right, in terms of shade range. It was the most extensive shade range of any beauty brand launch ever. And she instantly grabbed the market, and she has had a stranglehold on the market ever since. Then when she came out with Savage X Fenty, she did the same thing again, triggering. What did she do this time? Oh, I'm catering to everybody. Every size, every shape, every sexual orientation, every look, all of y'all. I have something here for all of you. And you might think, didn't you just say that there's no such marketing segment as everybody? Her market segment wasn't everybody. The tactic was to be inclusive. It's what you call inclusive marketing, where if I am a fan of Rihanna, because that's really who she was targeting. If I'm a fan of Rihanna and I am a size 20, and my biggest celebrity star is making a lingerie in a size 20, she gonna get my money. She gonna get all my coins, right? Why? Because that's her way of saying to me, I see you, I hear you, and this is for you. I am making this for you. Triggering, right? Let's look at how triggering works. Let's talk about, oh, there's another example, CoverGirl. CoverGirl is one of the first beauty makeup brands to have a male as their brand ambassador, and not as the makeup artist, but as the cover girl, the actual we call it makeup-y. Even though in this case James Charles is a makeup artist, but he was also featured in the campaign as wearing the makeup. That was revolutionary in the beauty industry for many reasons. First of all, CoverGirl is a trademark brand. You see them have them trademark, and it's a huge major global brand, right? CoverGirl. All CoverGirls historically were white, mostly white women, but white, until CoverGirl realized that, or not realized, they were getting backlash for that, because black women were going, so we're not pretty, we can't wear makeup, and that's where the backlash started, and that's where the change in CoverGirl started. And so you see them starting to feature more black women, but they were black celebrities, so they were still along that same celebrity supermodel vein. And it was still not enough of a change. And so now you see them starting to feature creators, everyday regular people like me and you. So they started going for athletes, up and coming athletes, sometimes just regular people like moms or teachers or whatever. And then they went here. So it was a natural progression for them. But this was all because of the demand, the consumer demand to see more diversity and inclusivity in certain previously historically white Caucasian spaces, right? Let's move on. Let's talk about persuasion marketing techniques. Persuasion marketing is the use of psychology to influence buying decisions, right? Or actions, or even your own thought processes. Once you are online, you are being manipulated. Your thought process is constantly being manipulated, and you don't even know. You don't even know. Anything from what you watch on YouTube, that's what YouTube recommendations are. That's what Instagram suggestions are. That's what these are. These are persuasion marketing tactics that is influencing you to think a certain way, to act a certain way, right? So let's look at some of the techniques. First one, triggers. Wait, this is not working the way it's supposed to work. Oh, okay. The first one is triggers. Triggers could be cultural, and triggers could be emotional. And what are triggers? Triggers are anything that literally triggers an emotion in you, or it could be nostalgia or whatever. Something that is literally what the words mean. Anything that triggers you to do something, to recall something, or to feel a particular way, right? You know who is very good at persuasion marketing using trigger tactic? KFC. Oh my God. KFC will constantly remind you that they're about family and getting together and happy moments and all that good stuff. Why do you think that is? First of all, KFC is not a Jamaican brand. We know that, right? That's one. Two, why do you think, and I want to see who's the enterprising person here, why do you guys think that KFC use triggering, and I would say KFC use cultural triggering, emotional triggering, and nostalgia triggering as persuasive or persuasion marketing tactics? Why do you guys think that? I'm not sure if that's why you're raising your hand, Daniel, but I want you guys to think about it. Because I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. It was honey pot and not honey. Okay, thank you. Let's look at some of the ways that KFC triggers you emotionally. And in terms of emotionally, it's tied to the nostalgia part. For many Jamaicans, growing up, KFC was a luxury item, was a luxury thing. It was something, you got KFC during moments of celebration. So your graduate, your birthday, your anniversary, family gathering, KFC, class party, yeah, you know, office party. KFC, Daniel says, I'm so sorry. Okay, KFC was a celebration thing because we couldn't afford it. We legit couldn't afford it back in the day. So it was special occasion kind of food, which is why it was luxury, because we didn't have disposable income like that. So it's something that you would have had to save towards, or your parents would have had to save towards. That's nostalgia one, and that's emotional too, right? So they play on that emotion, which is why everything with KFC says celebration, right? Celebrate moments with your friends and your family and coming together and blah, blah, blah. That's their main messaging. Right? We can't afford it now either, exactly, right? Another way triggers used culturally, KFC has ingrained itself in Jamaican culture, which is why if KFC reach $5,000 for your 5-piece wings, the line are gonna still long and it are gonna still cause traffic. Because it has become almost like an institution. Almost like a Jamaican institution, because it's symbolic, and symbolism is another persuasion marketing tactic. What do we mean by symbolism? Symbolism meaning KFC for a lot of people, especially millennials, is their way of proving that they've made it. Because now, if me feel like KFC, me can go buy a KFC, I'm gonna have to wait on a special occasion for buy KFC. I think that's one of the reasons why KFC can do no wrong for us in Jamaica, because we use it as a symbol of economic empowerment. This is just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree, right? And of course, it's a US company that has come to Jamaica and we love foreign things. There's also that. But there's another reason why I think we like foreign things. I think we like foreign things because foreign things symbolizes quality. Not because we're foreign-minded, but because foreign things symbolizes quality. Think about it. Think about how their commercials look, etc., etc. It just look better. It's promoted better, it's marketed better, it looks better, it looks like it tastes better, it probably don't taste better, right? But there's a perception of quality, because remember, for a long time, marketers in Jamaica were very lazy. And for a long time, they give you something where they just take it because, again, limited options, right? But when we look at the TV and we see these big Burger King commercials and KFC commercials, and we go, wow, Domino's commercial, we go, wow, this bossy. And then it come at Jamaica, yo, dede. Triggering, right? Yes, because again, one of the reasons why I think we are obsessed with foreign imported things is because it's the perception of quality. Perception of better, perception of improved. That's what I think it is. Okay, all right, guys. Next persuasion marketing tactic or technique is rhetoric and repetition. A lot of you know the jingle or the slogan to a lot of these brands and companies, right? And they repeat it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and so it gets stuck in your mind. And I'll give you an example. 1-888 Pro, Gas Pro. So to the one, 1-8. But I can even go farther back. A handful of Smarties goes a long, long way. It's a combination of colors that sends the blues away. Hey, you know all these commercials. You know all the songs. You know all the jingles. It's psychological. It's supposed to be catchy. It's supposed to be repetitive, right? I just gave away my age, didn't I? Yeah. Alan Darius is Jamaica. BEST best. You know them, right? Again, it's a persuasion marketing tactic. And what it does is it's association. So once you hear the jingle, you hear the song, you start associating with a particular product or service. So when you think of milk, you think of Long Island or Dairy Milk. When you think of cheese, you think of Tasty. When you think of patty, depending on which side of the divide you fall down on, is that Mother's, Tasty, Juicy, whatever, right? And so that is the power of rhetoric and repetition. It builds brand association. All right? All right. Storytelling. Oh, that's big in the digital marketing space. Everybody loves a good story, right? Everybody wants to hear what led you to here and what made you decide to. And so LinkedIn, oh my God, they love talking about themselves over on LinkedIn. Storytelling about that time where I was having a crisis and I looked to my inner self and I had to figure out what the mind of the soul was telling me to do, whatever. Right? They eat that up on LinkedIn, like gobble gobble, right? It's persuasion marketing. One, it makes you memorable. If you're a good storyteller, look at Terry Carell. Terry Carell, I would say her career is built on storytelling. She's an extremely good storyteller. Now, what you don't know or what you may have not noticed is that her stories are very repetitive, but she tells it a different way each time, and there's a different lesson that she pulls out of her stories. So even if it's repetitive in terms of kind of how the story is set up, etc., there's still things that you can get out of her story. That's extremely good storytelling. So she's really good at that, and storytelling is a good persuasion marketing technique. Incentive. When you incentivize people, it's also a good way of bringing them over to your side. And what do I mean by incentive? Frequent flyer miles, Magna rewards, right? Or any kind of points kind of system where if you build up certain points, you get this or whatever, cash back. These are all incentivizing your customers or potential customers to come to you, because not only am I getting the product and service that I pay for, there's also an ability for me to get something extra, right? Now, with the whole points and award system, this is what we call gamification. Because what you've done is you've turned these activities into almost kind of like a game, right? So hence why you will hear terms like rewards or points or what's some of the other terms that they use, guys, right? Because those are gaming terminologies, right? Or you get badges. Certain companies like Google, when you do like a Google certification course or whatever, you get a badge, a digital badge, right? They've turned it into a game, and it makes it easier or makes it more fun for somebody to participate in that, because one, it doesn't feel like they're doing work, and two, they're getting something as a reward for an action, and that's gamification. So incentivizing is part of gamification. Your language and your tone is also important. Look at how non-Jamaican brands who are in Jamaica market to Jamaicans. And I'm going to show you an example in a minute. Pepsi, KFC, Domino's. They're a non-Jamaican company, but you wouldn't be able to tell because they're using the language of the culture and the market that they're in to market to segments, to audiences in that market segment. Right? And it makes sense for them to do so. If the language and the tone was very American, it wouldn't work here. It wouldn't work here, right? At least not in the long term. It would be a novelty, but in the long term, Jamaicans get bored of these things very easily. Which is why I don't agree that we obsess with American things. Not in that way. As I said, I think it's a quality, a perception of quality. But we are very, very culturally inclined. And we're very patriotic people. And so a Digicel could come to Jamaica, change their entire branding to match the culture, which including cultural triggers. They use rhetoric, they use storytelling, they use incentive. In fact, Digicel use every single one of these things, these persuasion marketing techniques, right? To reach people and to be able to kind of, in a very quick way, capture the market, all right? So your language and your tone is very important. Are you going to be formal or are you going to be more hip and young and cool, right? Are you going to use, and by hip and young and cool, these companies mean patois. Are you going to use patois? That's what they mean. Let's just be real. That's what they mean. So they must say, yo, wicked, and ooh, cool. That's where they stop. They're not like a Wendy's. A Wendy's is a very they have a very provocative persuasion marketing technique, and it's trigger. It's a lot of emotional triggering. They use language and tone, and they use storytelling. Some of it is storytelling, but not them. But they're from their audience. And so Wendy's, if you say Wendy's, I bought something and I didn't taste good. Wendy's was like tough, and that's how they rap with their audience, and it works for them, right? They have, Wendy's have a thing where, I don't remember what they call it, but basically what they were doing was bashing their customers. So you could message Wendy on international, I forgot what they call it, international something on a day, and they will take something and bash you with it. Like they will criticize you or critique you or something, and it's usually very funny. It's usually done, it's usually something that you volunteer for. So they have that kind of rapport with their audience. That's their branding. And you find a lot of companies now practicing that same kind of guerrilla marketing tactic or persuasion marketing technique, where they're very controversial, they're very provocative, and because of that, it has a shock value, and that shock value can sometimes ingratiate them or bring them closer to their audience. It happens. And the last one is scarcity. If you've ever seen anybody go, only 2 left, guys, or early bird tickets, if you buy it before this time, you get it for this amount of money, or guys, limited time offer. That's scarcity persuasion marketing tactics. What they're doing is they're making you feel rushed or hurried, like you have to make a decision quickly or you're going to miss out. This is where FOMO and triggers collide, and I think that's where scarcity comes from, right? All right, let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat. All right, let's move on to the next one. So let's look at this example again from KFC. I love talking about KFC in my social media or my digital marketing course because I think they're such a good, first of all, I think they're excellent at marketing because they intrinsically understand their audience, and this is why that is important. So let's look at KFC. KFC, big deal. Anybody remember the big deal bucket?
Martin, my friends, a big deal time again, once again. Singing for all my.
When you watch this, I want you to tell me how many persuasion marketing techniques you would have picked up in this? So this looks like a music video, but it's actually a KFC commercial. So I want you to watch it and tell me how many persuasion marketing tactics or techniques you would have picked up. Write them down and then tell me afterwards. Let's go.
Jamaicans, them. Jamaica is a big deal. Full of pride, full of passion. Jamaica, we little bit, but with Talawa. We are lead, we no follower. This island named Jamaica. We are big deal, we are big deal. Reggae music creator. We athlete them, we're prouder. KFC shouting louder. Jamaica a big deal, we a big deal. Gold and green, push up your flag from your know what I mean. Jamaica, we a big deal. We have the and them make me see it. Black, gold and green, Jamaica, we a big deal. We have the flag that make me see it. Shout it out loud, make me know say you're proud of your heart. A KFC I celebrate to country. From Cornwall, Middlesex to Surrey. You're full of pride, let me hear you shout it. We are big deal, we are big deal. Jamaicans are we full of passion. Over the world we get big reaction. So everybody from your love your nation, help me sing this word. Black, gold and green. Push up your flag from your know what I mean. Jamaica, we are big deal. We have the and them make me see it. Black, gold and green. Jamaica, we are big deal. We have the flag that make me see it. Shout it out loud, make me know say you're proud of your heart. We have to flag them, we have to flag them. We have to flag them, we have to flag them. We have to flag them, we have to flag them. Jamaica a big deal, we a big deal. We have the hand them, we have the hand them. We have the hand them, we have the hand them. We have the hand them, we have the hand them. Jamaica a big deal, gold and green. Push up your flag from your know what I mean. Jamaica, we a big deal. We have the hand them, make me see it. Black, gold and green. Jamaica. We have the flag that make me see.
KFC Jamaica, celebrate your country. Get your limited edition Jamaica big deal today.
All right. All right, guys, you just saw that commercial. Who wants to jump on with me and tell me how many persuasion marketing technique did you guys just see in this one KFC commercial? Who wants to jump on and let me know? All right. I see some hands. Akilim. Daniel, your hand was up. Do you want to jump on? Your hand has been up for a while. All right. Let me go with Akilim. Akilim, you can jump on. Akilim.
You hear me? Hello, you hear me?
I can hear you now. How many persuasion marketing techniques did you just see in that commercial?
They use trigger. They use storytelling.
Okay, which triggering in terms of what?
So they use what they use. They use the word. They use the name Jamaica to associate it with KFC. Back to back. Once you hear Jamaica, you hear KFC. Automatically, just hearing Jamaica triggers you to buy KFC because it's one of the same now.
So cultural symbolism,
yes.
Emotional.
Quite.
So those were triggers. Okay. Triggers, what else did you see?
They tell us storytelling. By saying whether you're black, brown, and like telling everybody, create a story that everybody can come in was something that they use as well. And by doing all of that, they emphasize a lot on your emotion. So emotion, an emotional appeal was applied.
Yes.
For KFC as well. The language used, even just how they structure it, every other line after the word Jamaica is KFC.
And big deal,
and big deal.
I remember that big deal is a product that they offer, and they played on the word big deal, the term deal. Okay,
I think it in of itself was the marketing of the time, and you remember the time focus. When Big Deal came about, was the word big deal, or what was during the song time, which was a hype up period. So the word big deal was also used as the word itself was an influential character because it associate the song or whatever we may know from that song to put it in and bring we apply a meaning to the word big deal, which makes KFC itself a big deal, as we know, associate big and anything important to KFC. So
There you go.
Jamaica is important. KFC is important to Jamaica. Jamaica is important to KFC. That was a marketing strategy.
Thank you, Akilim. That was awesome. Thank you. All right, Larmond. I don't want to mispronounce your first name. Is it Daniel?
Hi, it's Danielle.
Daniel. Okay.
Yes.
What persuasion marketing tactic did you pick up in that commercial?
Language and tone was one, and according to what Akilim was saying, the whole big deal, that is not a term that you would hear outside of Jamaica.
True,
So they use a term that you can identify with as a Jamaican and that everybody in Jamaica can associate with, and they make sure that it's generically Jamaican. So it appeals to the Jamaican audience. So it doesn't feel foreign to you.
What else did you pick up?
Rhetoric and repetition.
Yes. Yes.
They kept saying big deal, KFC. They kept focusing on the Jamaican-ness of KFC so that it makes you want to be drawn in.
Yeah.
And the whole patriotism as well.
Yes. Right. There's something that you guys are missing, and I'm hoping the next person come. But thanks, Danielle. That was awesome. Sandra, what did you pick up? Sandra, come with our sexy voice now. Sandra, what did you pick up?
A fabulous morning to you. So the triggers I picked up were also the colors, the flag, the fact that he used Little But Talawa in the line. I didn't notice that. I didn't hear that before. The repetitions was the cultural aspect, the fact that we dance, we have a party scene. There's also family on the scene. There's a storytelling where you saw a little girl dancing, so there's a family there. A regular people, like you just say, a regular person like me and you in the line, and we're feeling good. We feel, we're big. This is our place, that kind of thing. And the language and tone was, and another thing, there were the athletes. There was a baller in there with a ball with stars on it. I mean, everybody knows it's a star. Who else
did you see represented in the video? Which other segment did you see represented in the video?
Apart from the dancers, the ballers,
the family. Who else did you see?
Family. Oh God, I saw it. I was just going through it. What's that person that I saw?
How many of you saw church people in there?
Right.
Yes, we saw the church people, the influencers, the baller, everybody.
You saw the ladies with the hat. They represented the church community because after church, a KFC.
You're right beside the KFC. I think that was strategically placed. Right beside where the box were and the dancers were was the church. So dancing is unique, is Jamaican thing. The church is Jamaican. The dance is Jamaican. Everything.
Did you also see the single father with the child?
That's what is him I was talking about. The little girl that was dancing in front of him. Yes.
So you saw a table. You saw a table with friends.
Right.
Young people that look like friends. You saw the single father with the child. You saw a nuclear family setting with the child, with children. So these are major groupings in our society. And what that commercial says is that we represent. First of all, that should tell each of us that KFC clearly understands Jamaica and Jamaicans and how we are as a society, how we function as a society, our interrelationships as a society. They clearly understand that. A lot of research went into this. And then, of course, this was the heights of Christopher Martin's popularity, right? Christopher Martin at the time was a big musician, right? So it was a good time to bring him in. And then, I don't know about you, but every time I hear that commercial, I get goosebumps because as a patriotic Jamaican, and it was just the sea of green and yellow and black, and the words of the song was very moving. If you were listening to the words of the song, it was extremely moving. It was well written, and Christopher Martin can sing ABCs, and it sounds sexy. I don't know. It's just him, right? So there was the sex appeal as well. Cause you can't left that out, right? It was a well done. But then This is how extra KFC is, and this is why I particularly think the KFC marketing team is tops. Look at this.
Kadia, one more thing, the confidence, that boastiness about Jamaicans was in that video.
Yes, I think that's what gave me the goosebumps, because you kind of felt that, especially when you talk about our proud, our athletes. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm bored or feeling down or whatever, me go watch Usain Bolt or Shelly and Fraser. I don't know upon them. That's a what you call a dopamine boost for me. So I got that. But look at this. KFC has a SoundCloud page, guys. They have a SoundCloud page.
Martin, my friends,
where
we have the flag them.
Every KFC commercial jingle song is on their SoundCloud page, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they have a Spotify page as well. Now, we don't pay a lot of attention to sonic marketing or audio-based marketing, but it's major. It's actually major. You'll find that brands that are not in the entertainment or beauty industry have entire Spotify playlists because they're associating certain sounds and soundscapes with their brand. It's also a very, very I call it highbrow marketing technique, but it's very effective, right? And KFC has gone that route with their big deal as well. And if you look at KFC Jamaica, some other example of persuasion marketing tactics that you find on KFC Jamaica is gamification. KFC, there's a lot of gameplay. Like this, for instance, there's a lot of gameplay on KFC. You can fill it out and you have a chance to win a prize. Again, how they have marketed in terms of who they support. KFC supports a lot of entertainers. They do a lot of competition in terms of DJ. I think they had you'll find a lot of this kind of thing on their page. Music.
Big. Still I do it big, yeah, anywhere we go. Get KFC today, we have to get it tomorrow. Yeah, we're coming out to right through the stereo. Lord, you a big deal.
KFC understands that Jamaicans are very musically inclined. We are a very creative, musically, creative people who are very artistic. And so they use a lot of that in their marketing and promotion. You're always going to see somebody with a headphone on or something. They support sports team. They know the things that are culturally important to us, sports and arts. And they invest in that and they do it visibly so we can see them investing in that. Again, that's another triggering mechanism to bring us closer together in terms of with the brand, so we can see ourselves in the brand, see ourselves properly represented in the brand. Let's look at some other examples of companies who are not Jamaican companies, but who are also very good at doing that. Another example is Pepsi, Jamaica. Pepsi is not a Jamaican brand, but the I in Jamaican, that entire campaign was immaculate. It was immaculate. If you guys remember, let me see if I can quickly find it. If you guys remember that commercial, you are the I in Jamaican commercial, what was Pepsi actually saying? Pepsi was talking about you and them. This was their way of saying that, not because we are a foreign brand, we are still very much a Jamaican brand. So you see them getting artists like Chensia and Charlie Blacks, I think his name was. I don't remember. Don't crucify me. They're doing Jamaican commercial, Ding Dong doing Jamaican commercial. But look at this one. I think this was probably one of their best ones.
You are the buzz. You are the zing. You are the you are the click. You are the pop. You are the in Jamaica. So keep fizzing for the love of it. Pepsi.
All right, you guys remember that Pepsi commercial? That's how that's sorry, I lost my train of thought just now. That's how Pepsi have been marketing themselves in Jamaica, because they know they're an international brand, and when you're an international brand coming into a new market, especially when the cultures are different, right, you have to make sure that you're not seen as an invader in that space or interloper in that space, but you want to assimilate in the space as best as possible. And the one of the best ways to do that is through cultural triggering, emotional triggering, repetition, incentivizing, all of these different persuasion tactics that you saw coming out in there. A visual symbolization. You saw the beach. You saw people diving off in the beach. You saw the little man with a little stall. You saw a coconut. You saw music. You saw dancehall scenes. Visual symbolization of what represents the culture that you are marketing in. Another one is the Tasty Patty commercial. Listen, one of the best, and now Tasty is a Jamaican company, right? One of the best commercials I have seen on Jamaican television, hands down, is cheese, because that's all I remember about this commercial. But let me tell you something, it has staying power. It stays in your head.
The posse from Mother's Pageant. Remember that's full house party, big on the seal of this cheese, tomato, red, full and green.
Party cheese, and that them call me.
Party with me, when everybody want it. We know no beef, we know no beef. Fish party, power party, and power party cheese. Chick, mother's chicken party, and party for every smiling mama, dana, and daddy, come on, mother's and grabby, and party for everybody. Yes, the delicious party lineup only at Others, the great Jamaican party company.
I mean, this is an iconic commercial. It and the cat, the broadcast commission singing cat, DJing cat. These are iconic commercials, and you'll find that a lot of commercials in the Jamaican space, whether it's by an international company, assimilating, or a Jamaican company, feature a lot of, it's always musically inclined. We're singing, the jingles sound like proper music video, like proper songs, right? Or some kind of skit or something. We are very good storytellers. And it comes out a lot in our music, and that is why a lot of these commercials are music based, because I think that's probably the quickest way to reach you as a Jamaican. And then you hear it all the time, you know, the repetition, the rhetoric, etc. It sticks. Cheese, I swear, that's all I remember. And I remember going to mothers and go, power up, cheese, power party cheese. And they look at me and laugh, because that is what I remembered about the commercial. And if you notice, they had the Rasta man in there, and they had the other guy in there that represented the no meat, right? So yeah, they clearly they understand the market, right? But guys, I wanted to show you this because I wanted you to understand that persuasion marketing is a fundamental part of marketing generally. And before you can understand digital marketing, you need to understand what marketing actually is and how marketing actually works. So let's look at some traditional marketing channels, right? Traditional marketing communication refers to any type of marketing communication that isn't online, right? So this means print, broadcast, direct mail, phone, and outdoor advertising like billboards. These were the traditional channels that was available to marketers before. You have sometimes you know, with the rise of digital and technology and electronics, sometimes you have it on taxi cabs. You know, in the States, you see the yellow taxis with the advertising running on it. Sometimes you see them on buses, that ticker, they're called tickers on the buses. Sometimes you see them plastered on the side of buses, the print ads on the side of buses, you still see to this day. Now in Jamaica, because we're extra, you see entire taxi cabs with big TV screen on the back, on the outside of the cars or the taxi. And this is the modern day version of town crying. I don't know if you know what a town cry is. It's those guys that walk around with a loudspeaker and advertise, right? Now you have these big TV looking things on the back of these moving vehicles with all sorts of advertising, like moving billboards, right? These were the traditional marketing channels that were available before, but there is one thing that distinguished this particular marketing channel, and it's the outbound nature of it. And what do I mean by outbound? So you have direct or indirect outbound, and meaning, so it's information that is disseminated to as many people as quickly as possible at one time. And that's what TV commercials are. That's what radio commercials are, right? As many people see it as possible, as quickly as possible. So you're not speaking specifically to any one group necessarily. But if I should happen to be watching the TV or happening to listen to the radio, and actually, I probably do want this, or I probably do, so the thought may occur to you at the time you see the commercial. Is not something you went and looked for. It just came to you because you happen to be watching something at a particular time. That's what we call outbound. It's from the company out. They're pushing out information to the masses. It's mass information, blanketing information to as many people as they can in at one time. Right? Because you can reach how much millions of people at one time in a primetime TV slot or a primetime radio slot, right? So that's the point. So again, look at now another advertising company. Well, another company that I love in terms of their advertising is Mini. You cannot beat Mini Cooper's advertising. When I tell you that these people are extremely creative. So this is a Mini magazine flyer. And then this is a Mini billboard, and this is how their billboards are 3D almost, right? And they use guerrilla marketing, which includes a lot of persuasion marketing. They use all sorts of different marketing tactics to get their messaging across. Electronic and TV ads, all sorts of different marketing Mini uses, and it's all different ways. And listen, I am a marketing nerd, and trust me, they're in my top 5 of best companies in terms of marketing. All right, let's look at some of the features of outbound communication channels. As I said before, it pushes messages out. Remember, I told you that before, it was companies who had big marketing teams, deep pockets for marketing, who used to direct what would happen in the market space and influence what happens in the market space, influence consumers. And that's because of mass messaging. They used to push mass messaging out, and that would influence you to do something even when you weren't even thinking about it. You were probably not even, that was not in your train of thought any at all, but it come on. And it comes on at a particular time when you're particularly engrossed in what you're watching on TV, right? And it just so happens to come on, and you'll notice they're very clever too. It comes on when they break for commercial. Know that those commercial breaks are strategic. It breaks at a particular point. Well, if they're doing it right, because sometimes TVJ, there's a strategic break at a particular scene or frame, and then it cuts to a commercial, and sometimes that commercial ties right back to the frame that you actually just saw, or it connects back to what you were just watching in some way, shape, or form. That's when it's being done right, guys. Look at like a NBC, etc., kind of thing, right? They do that strategically, right? I'm going to give you another example. I think it's later on, but look at Schools Challenge Quiz. Schools Challenge Quiz tends to incorporate their sponsor into some of the questions that they ask. That's strategery, as President Bush would say, right? And again, that's a part of the mass messaging rollout strategy that some of these companies with big budgets have. Chances are you're going to see a full page ad in the paper, in a Gleaner or an Observer, because these are national papers. Chances are you're going to hear it on the radio because you're probably driving and listening to the radio if you have a favorite radio station or a popular radio station. Chances are you're going to see it if you're watching primetime news and it's in a primetime spot. So that's the risk they take. Right? Big risk, which is why it costs so much, is why it's so expensive, because they know that it's an increased chance that you're going to see it. who you are. They can't tell exactly. They have a general idea of who you are, because the station can say, well, generally during this time, this is kind of the age group, this is kind of the demographic, but they don't know for sure. They're guessing too. No, intelligent guessing maybe guess based on some data, but their data is not specific, right? And this is one of the fundamental differences between traditional marketing channels and digital marketing channels, and we're going to cover that. Let's look at another outbound another feature. It focuses on scale and reaching the largest number of people at one time or over a certain period of time, right? Messaging for a mass audience, not any one specific person, but for a mass audience. So those are three main features, I think, of traditional outbound marketing communication channels. So that's it for traditional marketing. Now you're really doing a digital marketing course, and so I wanted to focus. So the focus is on digital marketing, but I think to contextualize that, you had to learn about marketing in general, because a lot of you here are not marketers. You probably never took a marketing course. So it was important for you to have that foundation and context. So when we go into digital marketing fundamentals, it makes more sense to you. You'll see that it's as same as it is different, meaning it is more alike than it is different. What is really, really different are the way we communicate and the channels we use to communicate. And you'll see that now. It's now 11:54. I'm going to go for another 10 minutes because I want to get into the digital marketing fundamentals with you, because we have a lot to cover. So let's quickly go into it now. Let me see if there are any questions before I go. Would it be possible to see the list of techniques again quickly? I didn't finish writing the list. When you watch the replay, triggers, repetition, where can I access the recording of this session? Again, guys, on Kingston Creatives YouTube channel. Not the time to be asking this question. Guys, can we save these questions for tutorial and just ask questions about what you would have just learned in the Q&A? All right. All right, guys, let's go quickly into digital marketing. Now, digital marketing and marketing is the same thing. You know what I mean? Again, there are certain fundamental differences, sure, but it's marketing just in the digital space. And what it does is it leverages electronic device, so PC, tablet, phone, digital, and out-of-home devices, right? To provide, this is what OOH means, to provide an experience that influences a desired audience to take an action. In every marketing, whether digital marketing or traditional marketing, you're trying to influence people to take a particular action, all right? So let's break down this definition. First of all, leverages. What do we mean by leverages? It means that you're going to take advantage of the features and the accessible nature of these devices, meaning anybody, any user can access these devices. So that means there are going to be a lot of users on these devices, a lot of eyes, right? And really what you're trying to get on these, especially social media platforms, is eyes. You want as many eyes on your profile as possible. So that's what the leveraging means. You're leveraging these platforms, these tools, these devices to become visible, to build awareness, to expand your reach, etc., right? And again, what do you mean by provide an experience? The entire thing is an experience. From how your page look, to what your page say, to the type of content you post, to the type of colors you use, to the type of fonts you use. All of it is an experience that you are, my glass is getting foggy. It's an experience that you are creating for your audience, and that experience is going to dictate how that audience interacts with you and how you are able, or how much you are able to influence the action that you want that audience to take. And by influence, we mean getting them to do something. which is so you'll see, for instance, where you say, hey, did you like this video? Like, comment, share. What is something that YouTubers say? Like and subscribe if you like this video. Smash that subscribe button and click that notification bell. That's what we call a call to action. And a call to action is you pushing an audience to take a particular action. You want them to subscribe, you want them to turn on the notification bell. So you tell them, right? So so the content is supposed to influence them, and then with that CTA, that gives them a little bit more impetus to then take that action, right? And it's the desired action. Now, this is the difficult part because, of course, your audience have a mind of their own, and how they receive your content and the perception about your brand or business is not something that you can necessarily dictate. But what you can do as best as possible is to condition your audience in a particular way. Influence your audience in a particular way. Create certain perceptions around your brand that will push them towards, push them to think, lean towards you more, right? Sometimes, in fact, hijacking their own thought processes to get them around to your way of thinking. That's what we mean by desired, right? Of course, we're talking about an audience, a specific group of people, because again, there's no target, there's no marketing segment named everybody, unless you use JPS or Water Commission, right? So you are talking to a specific group of people, and even if you're offering a product or service that anybody could take advantage of, there are persons who are more primed than others to receive the messaging and to take that action, because either they were looking for it before, they're already interested in it, for whatever reason, they're already more primed. So you want to be talking to those persons because it's easier to convert them, right? And of course, to take an action. You want them to do something. You want them to click on something. You want them to sign up for something. You want them to comment. You want them to share. You want them to buy. Whatever the action is, you are using digital channels, digital communication channels, digital platforms to create an experience that will influence a particular audience to take a desired action. That's what digital marketing, in fact, that's what marketing is, except in this instance, again, as I said, you're using digital communication channels and platforms, okay? All right, let's look at some digital marketing channels. So we just said that traditional marketing channels make use of outbound, mass messaging, pushing that message out to as many people as they can, right? But with digital marketing, for the most part, because you do have outbound strategies and techniques within the digital space, but for the most part, especially on social media channels, you have what we call inbound marketing. With digital marketing channels, especially social media channels, what you find is inbound marketing strategies or methods of disseminating information to attract, engage, and influence. Because sometimes, especially on social media, you're not necessarily converting on social media yet. Not yet, not instantly anyway. It takes you doing certain things over and over and over again consistently, and then sending them to somewhere where you can kind of close in and get that sale, right? But it's to attract people to your brand, engage them, in communication, in conversation, discussions, etc., and then influence them to take the action that we talked about just now, which could be to buy, right? And of course, you're also using these digital marketing channels and this outbound method to boost customer retention, because it's cheaper to retain customers than to acquire customers, right? So let's look at this Cardi B post. Now, this is actually an ad for Versace. This is Cardi B and her sister, don't remember her sister name, and her sister in a Cardi B ad. Now, the thing is, you would not know that this was an ad because this looks like one of the regular posts Cardi B and her sister post, except, of course, it looks a little bit more high end. But if you look at how the picture is taken, this looks like somebody took a picture in the home with a phone camera. The lighting quality is not the best. You would think that if this was a high-end commercial for a high-end brand, the lighting would be perfect, blah, blah, blah. This looks like they took it in their living room. It's intentionally made to look this way because it's less intrusive marketing, right? And this is what influencer marketing is. It's less intrusive marketing. It's an ad, but you don't necessarily want it to immediately come off as an ad. Right? So this is a part of the inbound marketing method, because inbound is one, less intrusive, and two, it's you, the consumer, going to find the information instead of the information being thrown at you. You are actively going out there to find information. So let's say you're a fan of Cardi B, right? And you love her fashion or her style. You are going to go on her page to see what she's wearing. That's why at award shows, when they're on the red carpet, one of the first questions they ask is, who are you wearing? Right? What they mean is what brand. Who remembers Michelle Obama? They created a big fuss over the designer she was wearing, and she made it a point to wear up-and-coming designers of color. Right? Not people who design colorful stuff, but black, brown designers, right? And it became a very powerful marketing tool for these designers because the first lady is wearing my clothes. So these things are important. No, it's not a situation where, you just happen to come across this. No, it's intentional. She intentionally did that because she was marketing herself as a brand, the Michelle Obama brand, right? And of course, they're giving her free clothes. So, of course, you know what I mean? Not that she didn't have a choice, but she get free clothes. So this is another inbound marketing method or technique as well. I give you free stuff. You talk about my free stuff. Create content around that free stuff. So when your fans come to your page, they will see that content and engage with my brand. Hence, expanding my reach. That's inbound marketing, right? Why is inbound marketing effective? Inbound marketing focuses on creating quality content that pulls people towards your company or your product or your service. And it aligns, when you align the content with your customers' interest, you naturally attract inbound traffic. Again, going back to that Cardi B thing, a lot of people go on Cardi's page just to see what she's wearing, which designer she's wearing, style. Rihanna became a huge style influencer for that very reason, right? People wanted to see what she was wearing. And then that's where trends come from, style trends, beauty trends, right? And so these brands will reach out to celebrities or digital personalities like Jackie Aina or James Charles or one of these other beauty creators to say, hey, you know, we'll have a new product. So they're going to send you I forgot what they call it. Is that like a sponsorship box or a promo box with the new product in there. You create content for your page. You review it and you introduce your audience to it, right? But your audience come to your page because they know you're going to be talking about different makeup and stuff because that's what they've come to expect from your brand, right? And so in that way, they are actively seeking out the information. In fact, you have an audience member, you know, say Jackie Aina always does makeup and she always going to talk about makeup for dark-skinned people. You have a special occasion coming up and you want a makeup look, you want a new fresh makeup look. You're going to go to Jackie Aina page and say, okay, which makeup she use, or me can get batwing eye or whatever eye, right? Inbound marketing. You create the content and the content attracts people who are already primed because they're either actively seeking out the information or interested in the information and go seeking out the information, right? And so you attract them with your content. An example of this is Digital Jamaica, which is not my brand, Digital Jamaica. Digital Jamaica really caters for persons who are either up and coming in the digital or tech field or already professional. So a lot of the content you see us create is around digital education, literacy, what's happening in the digital space, blah, blah, blah. And in that way, we're creating content that we know will attract people who are already interested in our subject area or area of expertise or whatever. And we get people just coming to the page to find that information. Right? So what you want to do, or what you should do as a brand in 2022, and you're, trying digital marketing, is position yourself on these digital platforms through content. And when I say position, I mean create content that will help you position yourself to be the go-to space for information on particular things. And by information, I don't necessarily mean white paper information. It could be entertainment based, it could be education based, it could be information based, it could be anything. But as long as it's something that your audience that you're trying to reach would be interested in, that's what I mean. You're positioning yourself to be accessed by these people, and for these people to get out of your content the value that they want to get out of your content. That's what I mean. Okay? So now, let's talk about digital marketing channels, and we're going to end after this. Let's talk about digital marketing channels. There are a couple. The first one, search engines. Now, search engines are different. And guys, digital marketing channels don't mean social media. Disabuse yourself of that thought. Digital marketing channels is very expansive, and social media is just one type of digital marketing channels. So some other types are search engines. Search engines crawl, index, and ranks websites into their catalog based on keywords. And when we look at search engine marketing and search engine optimization later on, we're going to go through that process so you can understand how that process works, right? So what search engines do is use keywords or search terms to make it easier for you to find content you're looking for, right? And this can increase your brand's visibility if you show up on the SERP page. And SERP stands for search engine results page, right? So if you show up on page 1 of a Google search engine results page, you're in the money, because chances are you're going to get clicked on. Your link is going to get clicked on, right? Social media, right? It's a modern communication platform. It is a communication platform, yes, that allows users to instantly share content, build networks, and form virtual communities, right? So notice I didn't say a selling platform, although a lot of social media is becoming more transactional, but it's still primarily a communication channel that you use to interact with potential customers or with existing customers. You're maintaining contact with existing customers, right? That's the value of these channels. Next, we have websites. Websites, they're a collection of publicly accessible, interlinked, which means they're connected, web pages that share a single domain name. So www.digiceljamaica.com. Now, when you click on digiceljamaica.com, there are multiple navigation pages that you can click on, but it's all under digiceljamaica.com. So this is where I mean by it's individual web pages connected together under a domain name, right? And your domain name is whatever the www is. Now, a website with an effective SEO strategy supported by social media and other digital platforms, I should say, can increase your rank, your search engine rank, right? Which means that you'll get more hits in the social search engine results pages and increase traffic to your site. Don't worry if you don't understand what none of that means. We're going to talk about all of this when we look at types of marketing, okay? Types of digital marketing. We go very in-depth into search engine marketing, SEO marketing, and I have a special guest who's going to come and talk to you guys about that as well, okay? Email. A lot of us don't know how to use our emails, right? So email or electronic mail are messages that may contain text, files, images, or other attachments sent through a network to a specified individual or group of individuals. That's what email is in a nutshell. Now, email can play a pivotal role in your sales funnel, your digital sales funnel, because of the direct communication channel. You are using a user's personal information, because for a lot of us, our email is personal, is akin to our telephone numbers these days, right? And so if I voluntarily give you my email information, it means I want you to contact me. So we're establishing a direct line of communication. Social media is indirect. Website is indirect, but email is a direct line of communication that we're establishing between you, the brand or business, a potential customer or a customer. And it also can help us expand on our relationship, cement our relationship, build trust and loyalty in our relationship, and keep customers engaged between purchases, right? This is something that Amazon Prime does. If you buy something from Amazon Prime, say you buy a supply of toothpaste. When you are after a couple months or after a certain time, Amazon Prime will send you an email to say, hey, you bought toothpaste 3 months ago. It may be time you stock up. Of course, that's not how they say it, but that's what they're saying. Do you want us to add it to your shopping cart? They do that. You also have emails for abandoned carts. When somebody puts stuff in their cart, but they check out. I do it all the time. That's how I shop. I will go on some of my favorite stores like H&M or Target or Walmart. I'll put stuff in my basket for the time being so I can remember what the things was that I, wanted. And I'll get a ton of email from them saying, hey, these items are going soon. That's a scarcity tactic there. Only 2 items left. Grab it before it goes, right? And so that's how they keep you engaged between purchases. Sometimes they'll email you to tell you what's the latest thing they have in stock, or whatever the communication is. Another digital channel is mobile applications or web applications. But not just applications, but there's a thing called mobile marketing as well. We're also going to look at that, don't worry. But mobile or web application or apps is a type of software that can be installed to run on a computer, tablet, or smartphone, or other electronic devices accessed via a browser, right? So, and this is what we call a web-based application. So a web-based application run on any kind of smart device. Mobile-based application tends to run on smartphones, tablets, even watches, smart watches, right? And other that kind of electronic device. Now, a lot of them, you don't have to use a browser to access them. Like, for instance, the Instagram app or the social media apps. Or this logo that you're seeing here is for Slack. It's one of the tools I use. It's like a Teams app. You have Microsoft Teams. So with these, you don't have to go through a browser. You can literally just install the app on your phone, download it through Google Play or iOS, install it on your phone, and boom, you're ready to go, right? So these are just some of the marketing channels. Now, let me tell you why mobile applications especially are dominant nowadays. Because it's another direct line of communication with an audience. And I'll give you an example. Shein. G's and P's, me download the Shein app, and Shein message me about 20 times a day. Hey, look, we have a new item in stock. Hey, look, this item in your basket is growing out fast. Hey, look, we have popular social media stars such and such doing a live Q&A in Shein. competitions, also they message you through the app 1,000,000 times a day. So it's a direct communication channel between you and the user, right? And it makes it easier for brands to communicate and connect with customers, because what? You're kind of blocking out the noise of social media, and it's now you and the app, right? Because it's the Shein app, and Shein is sending you messages through the app that shows up as notifications on your phone or on your tablet. So you're cutting out all the social media noise and distraction, and you're directly communicating with me. That's what emails do as well. Cutting out all other distractions and noise to directly communicate with me. Guys, I want to cover types of digital marketing, and I could go up until 12:30 and cover it. What do you guys think? You guys think I should just continue? Because it's going to take me about 30 minutes to go through the assignment with you and stuff. Yes? Okay, continue. Okay, good. All right, then. Let's go to 12:30, and then we go into our tutorial. Now, the first session is usually long because I do a lot of contextualizing, etc., which is why I went over marketing. Dana says, that type of frequency is annoying to me. How do you strike the balance? Jeez, I'm Shein annoying. But let me tell you why I don't delete Shein. Sometimes they have some really good deals, right? You have some really good deals that you get through that messaging thing. And if you turn off the notifications, you stand a chance of missing out. These apps, they really rely heavily on FOMO. But you, in your smart devices, you can limit how much notifications you actually get from a particular app or from your apps just generally. So you can control it. But for me, I usually just let it run until I get annoyed with it and then just turn it off. But I've gotten a lot of deals through the Shein app, so I don't really mess with it. All right, let's look at types of digital marketing. How many of you know who this is on the screen? Jessica, yes. Jessica Hilton Lecky is actually one of my favorite creators, otherwise known as Jessica in the Kitchen. And I will go so far as to say that she is probably one of the most successful digital brand personalities from Jamaica. I will go as far as to say that, because Homegirl has been doing the damn thing. And I'll tell you why. No, why do I have Jessica Hilton Lecky's image here? Is because when we talk about the different types of marketing, you're going to find that Jessica has done she has encompassed just about every single one of them in her digital marketing strategy. Let's look at them. Content marketing. Let's look at Jessica Hilton's content marketing. She's on Pinterest. She has a website. She has a YouTube channel. And she has a very, very buzzing Instagram channel. Now, what is content marketing? Content marketing is where you, as a brand, business, or creator, you produce content on your platform and you use that content to attract and engage potential clients or a particular audience. That's all content marketing is. You're using content to market you as a brand or your products or your services, but in a very indirect way. So you're not just doing a QVC kind of thing where you just create videos and go, wow, look at my bread. My bread is beautiful. No, you're not doing that. You're probably showing some behind the scenes of how you make your bread, the special ingredients where you put in your bread, how long your bread take for make, the kind of oven you use make your bread. That's the kind of content you're going to create. But you are actually marketing the bread. But it's an indirect way, because instead of just doing the salesman tactics where it's cash for gold, cash for gold, cash for gold, you're going, ooh, look at this beautiful necklace. Look at how it's made. It's unusual. Look at the characteristics of this necklace. You're doing all of that to create a more expansive experience for the audience, and you're trying to get your audience to know you better and for you to know your audience better, so it is easier for you to sell to them. That's really what content marketing is. And Jessica Hilton Lecky is very, very good at content marketing, okay? Let's look at email marketing. If you sign up for her newsletter, you're going to get some emails. I think it's weekly emails on the dot at a particular time every single week, which is consistent. What is email marketing? It's the use of email marketing platforms or services like a MailChimp or a ConvertKit, etc., to directly communicate your product or service with your audience, with, again, a particular audience. The difference is with email marketing, it's even more targeted than content marketing, because for persons to end up on your email in the first place, it means that you would have qualified them. What do I mean by qualifying them? It means they would have volunteered the information to you. That's how you qualify a lead. So they would have probably seen Jessica put a recipe on her Instagram channel, right? A video about something that she created, or an image. She's good at beautiful images of her creations, right? And you say, "Oh, I want her to send me recipes because I tried this and this was good." Okay, so you're gonna click the link in her bio, which takes you to her website. You're gonna go to her website, you're gonna sign up for her newsletter, voluntarily sign up for her newsletter, so you can receive more recipes in your inbox. That's email marketing, okay? And that's qualifying a lead, all right? Website marketing, Jessica has a very high traffic website, meaning her website generates a lot of traffic for this very reason. Look at this. I'm just going to Google Jessica and I just have to Google Jessica in the kitchen banana bread, Jessica in the kitchen chickpea curry. It's gonna come up. So look at what comes up. Her website comes up. Her YouTube channel comes up. She has been backlinked on this website, so it comes up. Her Pinterest page comes up. She's on Trello, that comes up. So everywhere that you can find Jessica in the kitchen will come up. So her website is high traffic, and it's also high traffic because of her social media. Let's go to Instagram and look at Jessica in the kitchen's social. Me say not now. She has 173,000 followers. They are highly engaged followers. And she posts very often. She's very consistent in the quality of her post and how much she posts and what she posts. She's highly consistent, and she goes viral a lot. There was one particular recipe that went viral, and it was the coffee. She did a coffee recipe and this was back when we were just going into lockdown, and she did an iced coffee recipe. And when I say it went viral, I mean it went viral globally. And that attracted, at the time she was at 30,000 followers. And I mean, within weeks, she was at almost 100,000 followers. So she's everywhere, and she's very good at keywords. She used vegan recipes a lot. In her keywords on not just her social media, but if you just click on Jessica in the kitchen, you'll find that she uses a lot of keywords to be found as well. So let's test it out. Let's look at chickpea recipes and see if we can find her. Jamaican style, feasting homes, healthy. All right, let's look at vegan recipes Jamaica, because it really depends on what you put into the keywords. It also depends on where you show up, where you are located, by the way, where you show up. It also depends on my search history and what I have been searching for. Now, this is interesting. From the comfort of my bowl is another Jamaican vegan creator. Her name is Janelle Golding. I also did a podcast episode with her. Go and listen to that as well. But I would have thought Jessica Simpson would have showed up. But I think one of the reasons, I keep saying Jessica Simpson, one of the reasons why I don't think Jessica shows up for me is because, one, I don't do a lot of vegan recipe Googling stuff. I don't. And it depends on the types of keywords that she uses to market her brand. And I'm not in the vegan space, so I'm not necessarily familiar with those keywords. But I'm sure if I had time and I was playing around with the keywords, she would come up in the top search results, because she has come up in top search results for me before. Okay? So this is another reason why I say, guys, sometimes SEO is not SEO is not an exact science. But it really depends on keywords. So I don't think I'm doing her any justice here. But yes, where were we? We did website marketing. Yes, actually, I want to go back to her website. Let's go back to her website because I want to show you something. And basically what website marketing is using your website platform to market your products or services, to make sure that people can find you when they're searching for something. You position your website in a particular way using certain keywords, search terms, and other metadata tags to make sure that you're findable, visible. Let's call it visible. Let's go back to Jessica in the kitchen. So this is her homepage. She has a lot of recipes, but I want you to notice this section of her page, and I want you to notice this section of her page when we move to the next thing, which is social media marketing. So we've already looked at social media marketing with Jessica in the kitchen, right? We saw that she has a really huge social media presence. She does a lot of videos, a lot of images of her recipes and stuff on her social media. And that's what social media marketing is. Using these modern communication platforms, these social media platforms, to engage with users, to attract them, to engage with them, to influence them, to create communities with them, and then eventually to sell to them. Right? That's what social media is for. No, you don't necessarily do the selling part on social media, but certainly I think of social media platforms as like satellite platforms, and that pulls people in to your brand, and then you can then traffic them to your main digital platforms like your website or your email or your app. So for me, social media is not a main, or should not be your primary digital platform. It should be a satellite platform. This is what I call them, right? That you use to traffic people to your main platforms. Influencer marketing. Now, Jessica in the kitchen is an influencer marketer because she has been with this brand. I think it's called Bob's Red Mill. Is it Bob's Red Mill? She's been with for some time now. In fact, the flour that she uses in a lot of her recipes and stuff, because she's vegan, so I think she uses vegan flour. It's from that brand, okay? And she talks a lot about the different brands that she, is an ambassador for. She, influencer, does kind of some influencer marketing work for. So influencer marketing is where brands pay creators or persons with some influence, whether it's thought influence, key thought leaders or industry leaders, whatever their position of influence is, they pay them to introduce their products or service to their audience. So what you're paying the creator for or the person for is access to their audience. Now, influencer marketing is not new. This is why you see a lot of brands collaborate with like a Cardi B or a Nicki Minaj or whatever, or with a Beyonce for Blue Ivy, for Ivy Park, right? She has collaborated with Adidas. That's a part of influencer marketing. You're using this, the fame of this person and the fact that they have a large audience, and to get in front of that audience, you're going through this creator, right? Search engine marketing. Search engine marketing is where this is, I know, so between content marketing and social media marketing, I think most of the strategies that you use there are organic based strategies. But when it comes to influencer marketing onwards, you're going to see that these are predominantly paid strategies because you're paying an influencer. Search engine marketing is the same thing. It's mostly when you are paying to position your brand in terms of how your brand is ranked or the visibility of your brands on search engines. So when you search for something, and I'll give you an example. Let me search for podcast hosting. What you'll see is this here, ad. This is an ad. That's one ad. I'm surprised I don't see more ads up there. But this is search engine marketing. So you're paying for Google to put you at the top of search engines so you are most visible. You're paying to sit at the top of the search engine results page, right? But there's an organic way you can do search engine marketing too, and it's restaurants near me. So say Google restaurants near me, and you see money exchange, but this is what we call Google My Business. Google My Business is a free tool that you can sign up for to put your business on Google. And because you have signed up to put your business on Google, now you have a paid version of Google My Business and you have a free version of Google My Business. You'll find that when you type in certain key terms like restaurants near me or pharmacies near me, if they're on Google My Business, they're going to show up at the top of the search engine results page. This is actually the search engine results right here, so no. But notice they show up here so as places. They're on Google My Business. So this is another type of search engine marketing that you can do too. This is also called location-based marketing. We're going to talk about that later as well, right? Or geo-tagging or geo-marketing, because sometimes they show up here because you added the terms near me. And if my GPS is on, I can easily find things near me, because what these brands did was they made sure that they're on Google My Business and that they have included Google Maps. So Google Maps can pick them up and know where their businesses are. So if I have my GPS on and I put in the term near me, at the end, I can find them easily, right? So there's that. Going back, we can look at, why does it keep doing this? Sorry, guys. All right, let's look at search engine optimization, or what we call SEO. SEO is, again, not an exact science, but what it is you are using, so every search engine have rules as to how the search engine works and what you need to do to make sure that the search engine works for you. We talk about crawling and indexing and ranking. That's how most search engines work. But you have to understand that all the content that you're putting on your page is information, and it's the information that they're crawling, indexing, and ranking. So when you go to search on a search engine, what they're looking for, or in terms of Google, especially in just search engine in general, their goal is to return the best results that match what you typed into the search box, whether it's a phrase or a term or a word, right? And so with search engine optimization, what you're doing is a couple of things. You're making sure that you know what the search terms, phrases, keywords that your audience is most likely going to use, and then you incorporate that into your website. But when I say incorporate, I don't just mean go drop them on the website and then cut. What I mean is you are creating a flow on your website. So you're a navigational flow, an informational flow, and you're also using the search terms, phrases, whatever. And all of this come together to create a particular experience for your audience, and it will drive traffic to your page, right? So that's what search engine optimization is. You're optimizing your website to be searchable or visible on search engines. That's pretty much what that means in a nutshell. No, it's a lot more complicated than it sounds, and I don't want to minimize it. It's a lot of work, and it's a more long-term strategy, digital marketing strategy. But once you've hit upon a particular formula that works, and there's so many different formulas, once you've hit upon a formula that works, it's gold, right? Pay-per-click marketing. So let's click off Jessica here. Pay-per-click marketing is also another paid marketing strategy, digital marketing strategy, and it's when you see those ads. And if you go back to Jessica in the Kitchen's page, I will show you. This is a pay-per-click ad, but it shows up here as a display ad. But what happens is every time I click this, right, you pay Google, because I think this is a Google ad thing. You pay Google, so you don't pay for the ad until I click on it. And it's the same thing you find on YouTube. When YouTube interrupts your viewing to show you a video, you see that little bar under the bottom of the video, whatever. Unless I click on that, YouTube don't get paid for that ad. Right? It's called pay-per-click, and it's literally what it means. And it can come in several different varieties. It can come as a display ad, in the case this one, or it can come as an ad on YouTube. Or no, you have to understand that the Google ecosystem is very expansive. It includes, let's look at a Google search. It includes maps, images, videos, books, and if you click more, news, finance, and other tools that you can click on. It even includes academic. There's an academic section to the Google search results. So depending on where your ad is showing up in these different spaces, it will look different, but it's all under the umbrella of pay-per-click marketing, right? We're gonna go into that as well, so don't stress about it. The next one, guys, is viral marketing. How many of you know this lady? How many of you can identify? This is School's Challenge quiz. How many of you can identify the person on the screen? Oh, look at you guys. Christina knows her social media trends. This lady is a singer called Mooney Long. I think that's how her name is pronounced, Mooney Long. Now, I don't know how many of you have been on TikTok or Twitter or Instagram and you heard the song, yours, mine, ours. I could do this for hours, sit and talk to you for hours. That song went viral on social media, starting with TikTok. Now, this is what we call viral marketing. And what you'll notice is a lot of entertainers, up-and-coming entertainers, and even established entertainers are turning to social media platforms first, putting their work out on social media platforms to allow it to go viral, sometimes organically, sometimes not, because a lot of the viral marketing looks organic. It is made to look organic, but it's actually paid, right? So, for instance, Nicki Minaj, when she did the Black History Month thing with our Black History Month Zoom live session with TikTok, that was paid. That was not organic, right? But it looked organic. That was viral marketing. Nicki Minaj's songs constantly go viral on TikTok because she has fans, and viral marketing can also blend into community marketing, where you have fans who are on this page, on these profiles, who are big content creators who will use your songs in the background of their videos, etc. And that's why you see Instagram now having they had music for a while. We now can access it in Jamaica. TikTok having music backgrounds, etc. or sounds that you can add to your video. So it creates atmosphere, it creates an experience, but it also helps these artists to go viral and to trend, right? Yes, A, B, C, D, E, F, U. There's so many songs that went viral on TikTok, some organically, some not organically. In fact, most of them are not organic, right? Because sometimes the platform will suppress and push based on, it's true, it happens, okay? So that's viral marketing. And the last one I think is mobile marketing. So I've been receiving these messages from DBJ about them gold digital voucher thing for some time now. This is mobile marketing. Mobile marketing is using, no, with mobile marketing you have different channels, but one of the ways that you can do mobile marketing is through SMS. So sending messages through your mobile carrier, through your mobile network. And this is outbound now. This is one of the ways that I say, guys, that you have outbound methods, even though it's a digital platform. This is very outbound, right? I didn't go searching for this. These messages are just sent to me. It's mass messaging sent out through a digital or a flow, whatever, to your phone. You see a lot of these money lending agencies and stuff just sending out, get a payday loan or whatever through messages. Another way you can do that too is, and this is a way of, again, deepening the relationship with your customer. JN, which is my bank, when it was my birthday, sent me a birthday message. Happy birthday, Kadia Francis, from your JN family, blah, blah, blah. That's also mobile marketing, right? But that was a more personalized mobile marketing, right? So they're using these mobile channels to communicate directly to you, even though it's mass marketing. And in this instance, it's less personalized, even though it says hi, Katie right here. So it's less personalized. Now, mobile messaging, SMS, is becoming a little bit more sophisticated, where depending on which application I use, if I use Google, etc., they're buying this information from Google. So they know what I look at when I go online. And depending on the application I'm using a Google Pixel. Google Pixel is listening to me. And I don't mean listening as in, they're passing on your information. They're listening for me to say certain words. Because if I say, hello, Google, the Google Assistant is going to, hold on. Hello, Google. My Google Assistant is going to automatically come up because they're listening for certain terms and so it's the same thing. And they buy information from each other, so they know my search history. Listen, you see people complaining about needs. Google know more about your business than the government of Jamaica. You hear? Because your devices are literally listening to you. Now, as I said, they're not spying. Technically, it's not spying, but they're listening to you because you have certain features turned on. So that is why you could just have a conversation about DBJ Go Digital Voucher. The next thing you know, you go on Instagram and there's an ad for DBJ Go Digital Voucher, right? These platforms work together, especially the platforms that are information-based, like search engine platforms like Google, that have access to all your information. They do sell that information, okay? So, yes, back to mobile marketing. Some mobile marketing like this one, even though it's mass marketing, can feel personalized, but it's not necessarily personalized, right? So there's that. But you have other types of mobile marketing, again, like the location-based mobile marketing with multimedia messaging. Multimedia messaging, mobile marketing, that's a mouthful, will be like, for instance, on WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or direct messaging, depending on the type of messaging app. We call those messaging app, for instance, WhatsApp, Telegram, WeChat. Those are what we call over-the-top services, which means that they don't depend on your internet, your mobile carrier to work. They work through Wi-Fi. So it means they sit on top of your carrier. So that's why they're called over the top, or voice over IP. Same thing, right? So guys, this is just in a nutshell. I have to stop here because I've gone way beyond 12:30. So next week, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the fundamental differences between digital marketing, traditional marketing, and then we're going to close out by looking at what are some of the traditional approaches to, integrated approach to marketing, because some may feel, oh well, digital marketing is better or traditional marketing is better. It's not a matter of better, it's a matter of creating an integrated strategy that works, because you still want to spread yourself out as much as you can. So every touch point, you're positioning yourself to be accessible at every touch point. Okay, so guys, that's it for our session today. Let me see if there are any Q&A. Oh, another type of marketing that I did not touch on is affiliate marketing, and I want to quickly show you it on Jessica in the Kitchen's page, website. Affiliate marketing is when you and a particular brand come together to market their products and services, and then you get a cut of the sale of that product. So this here in Jessica's Kitchen, this is affiliate marketing, because she doesn't produce any of these things, but she uses them, and if you buy them, she'll get a percentage of the sale. It's the same thing, the Amazon storefront, all of that. You have people who have Amazon storefront, where all the items that they use, say for instance, you're a creator and you do DIY stuff, right? And you have a particular wallpaper that you use, you can put that in your Amazon storefront, and if anybody buys it, then you get a cut from Amazon of the sale of that item. That's what we call affiliated marketing. You're affiliated with this company, and if you bring people to the company and they buy a particular thing, you get a cut of that. Right? So that's what affiliate marketing is. And those are just some of the major types of digital marketing. There are other types of digital marketing. And because digital marketing space is so fluid, it changes so rapidly. You have different types of digital marketing strategies and stuff that comes about almost daily, right? Yes, it's becoming very popular for creators. All right, guys. Yes, it's called app tracking. Thank you, Sophia. That's what it's called. The tracking, when you go on certain websites and look at certain things, or when you say certain things, it picks it up. And then what it does is, because the justification for the app tracking is just so that it can feed you content that it feels that you would be interested in or that is relevant to you. But of course, it's using your data, your personal data, to do so. Now, me is a Google skettle. Me sign up to everything and I'm wide open for Google. My GPS on, everything on. Because I find the Google system to be extremely convenient for me. And so they have access to everything for me. Now, there's some limitations I put on that, but I'm pretty much wide open to Google. And so I get more streamlined ads and stuff that is coming to me. And I prefer it that way, because I don't like shopping, I tell you the honest truth, because too much options and I get confused and stuff. So when I get more streamlined stuff, it works out better for me. But it really depends on you. It I tell the CIA, and if I don't know about that part, but they can access your information legally, but they have to go through the courts to be able to do that, because you can't just roll up on Google and go, oh, we want information on Katie Francis. No, you have to get a court order. All right, guys, that's our class for today. I know I've gone over in the tutorial time, but there's not a lot of tutorial today because it's day one, and two. Our first session is usually the heaviest session in terms of information.